Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Chris Nelson. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. Drug Enforcement Task Force busts 3 men for dealing ice. Also tonight, new federal rules may gum up the local labor market. And an in-depth look at a major hotel and its tenuous future. In sports, men's island-wide hoops rolls on. Who gets grilled this time? Huh? Who? Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
The phone you want now on the best network and a plan that gives you endless data on chat, social, and music apps. Tell your Docomo Pacific rep you want now with access. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
We're here for Saipan, we're here for life.
Hafaday Tirawami and good evening, Commonwealth. Chris Nelson in for Ashley McDowell. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, 2019. Thank you for watching, and we welcome our radio listeners on the Magic 100. This morning, in a temporary courtroom just steps from our studio, 3 men accused of dealing meth faced the judge. Bob Coldine has this report.
Joseph Torres White, 28, Paul Anthony Lizama, 30, and Marwin Borja Camacho, 38. All charged with trafficking of a controlled substance. According to court documents, on January 29, 2019, police met with a cooperating source regarding the drug distribution of White. Prior to that date, the cooperating source had met with White in a prearranged location in Chalampiao to purchase crystal methamphetamine, also known as ice. He stated that if he ever needed to purchase ice, that he could call or meet with White any time to purchase about $20 to $30 worth of it. In the case of Marwin Camacho and Paul Lizama, a buy-walk operation was conducted on October 22, 2018, where a cooperating source and Camacho agreed to meet at a location in Esperito. Documents state that during a recorded phone conversation between the source and Camacho, that Lizama would be the one person to deliver the drugs, approximately 2 grams of ice. Based on all the evidence gathered by police, the suspects were apprehended. Bail was set at $100,000 each. Preliminary hearing set for August 27th at 1:30 p.m. Arraignment is set for September 9th.
What happens if thousands of workers are forced to stop working on the very same day? That day could come at the end of next month. Let's take a look. In the old days, when the CNMI controlled its own immigration, non-resident worker contracts began and ended pretty evenly throughout the year. This changed when USCIS implemented a cap on workers. All of a sudden, there was a rush to get applications in at the earliest possible date, and this translated into almost all employment contracts beginning on October 1st and ending on September 30th. This year, a new labor certification process is putting a real-time squeeze on CNMI employers, and it could mean that thousands of CNMI employees are out of status on the same day.
Based on this timeline, hundreds of employers and thousands of workers will not be able to be renewed by the deadline of 9/30/2019.
Local businessman Tony Munya has been crunching the numbers, and based on days and simple math, he projects serious trouble.
Last year, the prior year process, and has been for the many years, was basically a two-step process. You advertise for 15 days. If you don't get qualified responses, then you're allowed to file your I-129. So the process was manageable. This year, it's essentially a five-step process. You have to apply for what they call a prevailing wage determination. Then once you have that determination, you file for a temporary labor certificate that will allow you to post a job vacancy announcement and advertise the position. Then after a 21-day period plus 2 days to prepare what they call a recruitment report. And once you file that, then you wait for what they call the temporary labor certificate final determination. And that process, I think, based on the experience of employers, and Dave's here also that can confirm, is essentially about 90 days. So, and that's if you hit a home run with having, as you apply for these things, not have issued to you notice of deficiencies.
CNMI employers so far are not hitting home runs. In fact, many are not even in the batter's box. Munoz says that employers who have not yet posted their JVAs are almost certainly not going to make the deadline. In fact, the job vacancy announcement posted 2 weeks ago on August 9th or afterwards will most likely not make it. Hawaiian Rock General Manager Dave Bush has over 40 non-resident workers that help his company supply material like aggregate and cement to construction projects.
All this leads to other things, and that's part of the problem.
Now, your company has not even received your TLCs back from Department of Labor yet. Right?
Part of the problem we face is almost all of our wages got changed in the second prevailing wage determination. And so we couldn't operate on the first prevailing wage determination. So yes, ours are lagging even further behind. And there's really very little or very, very slim possibility of us being able to do that. We've got our prevailing wage determination, the first step from FLAG. The second step, which is the TLC, we don't have anything back yet. And I've met with Department of Labor, I've met with various people. The problem now, the way it's set up electronically, is you can't proceed from one step to another unless one is complete. So until we've completed step one, until we complete step two, we can't run the JVAs. Now, if we could run JVAs right now and close the timeline down, then perhaps we might be able to stay within the time frame. But when you have to wait and you're dependent on the federal government to process the TLCs, and right now those TLCs are taking well over a month, and so it's going to really squeeze everybody very tightly.
We will have more on this story tomorrow night. In the next 2 years, two major hotels that sit on public land face expiring leases. Fiesta Resort and Hyatt Regency both want to stay. What happens next? The lease for the property that the Hyatt Regency Saipan sits on will expire in 2021, just 2 years from now. Hyatt sits on public land and they hope to continue operating.
It's been a long history for us here in Saipan. So we've been doing business and we have a good relationship with the community and also the staff, about 250, 260 staff here. And they used to be like more than 60% were foreign workers, the Filipino people. Those people are very nice too, but the law has been changed. And now more than 80% of our workforce is local people. And we have a good relationship with the management and the workforce. And we think we've been contributing those people and also society. And we want guests comes to Saipan is also happy with staying with our property. We want to continue this business activity here on the island.
Hitoshi Nakauchi is the president of the Kobe Portapia Group. Nakauchi's father was initially in the grocery business in Japan before moving into hotels. Following the success of their Kobe property, they began to research owning a resort hotel overseas. The year was 1991. Meanwhile, Nakauchi went to New York to study hotel management at Cornell.
After that, I came back to Kobe, my hometown, and then helped my father join the company, and then came to this property, maybe 93 or 4.
In the mid-90s, the group invested in building the south wing of the Hyatt, adding about 75 rooms to the property.
This property is under management contract with Hyatt. So Hyatt has a full management responsibility and rights. So we are owning company and support Hyatt for their capital expenditure or any support they need. We want to provide, and we've been having a good relationship with Hyatt.
Hyatt GM Nick Nishikawa has had to do a lot of managing. 2 major typhoons put a lot of strain not just on the property itself, but also on the staff and the island arrivals. The market mix has changed drastically as Japanese tourists have plummeted while Chinese and Korean tourists have grown. At the same time, immigration laws has made it more challenging to hire foreign workers.
That's why we have decided to change a little bit direction to hire more local staff, train, because this island is their future.
With a lease extension unclear, major renovations at the property have been put on hold.
Now we have only 2 years left now, so it's difficult for us to make a big investment decision. But if depending on how many years lease extension, we will think about what kind of investment improvements is good for the property, good for the island, then we will execute it.
Nakauchi says a recent meeting with Public Lands went well, but there's still a lot of negotiating left to do, and the clock is ticking, and a reminder of what could happen looms to the north.
We've been talking about this land lease extension thing with Hyatt people and sometimes governor, ex-governor, ex-governor, but maybe at that time people thought there is some more time. So we did not really discuss about precise conditions. But now, 2 years from now, and after the Marianas Resort issue, then now people are more serious about thinking about precise manner how to do this, how to deal with this. So I think it's not too late, but maybe after next year's summer or so, it's too late. So now is a maybe good time for every party is concerned, think about this issue concretely.
Once we get the extension and then we make a nice plan and to renovate or improve the facilities, it's going to be very nice hotel, I promise.
Coming up, the accountability of government officials takes a step forward. That story and more in the second half of the news.
Get your daily serving of 4G LTE data with iTNE's daily prepaid plans. Choose from the best priced plans in the Marianas. Get 1 gigabyte of data for $2.50 a day, or choose a $1.50 or $2 plan. Need more data? Top up. Get 100 megabytes for $1 or 1 gigabyte for $10. Visit any iTNE store or call us to learn more and ask about our prepaid loyalty plan. iTNE. Explore your world.
At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537. Welcome back to the Thursday night edition of the Channel 2 News. Accountability, that's a buzzword that pops up from time to time. Holding government officials more accountable is the goal of a new law. Bob Coldine is accountable for this next story.
Today at the Hyatt Regency Hotel Ballroom, department and agency heads attend a workshop put on by the Office of Public Auditor. Audit Manager Geraldine Tenorio explains the new reporting requirement.
Citizen-centric report, and as the name says, it's for the citizens. It's a 4-page report, and this report is basically a way to communicate with your citizens about your performance, who you are, how much money you've spent on these services, and some of the challenges and outlook for the future.
It's not optional, rather it's required by the legislature, and it's being implemented here for the first time.
So the law requires that all government agencies submit a CCR every year by October 30.
She outlines the explicit purpose of this new reporting.
You know, the purpose is for agencies to communicate with its citizens. A lot of citizens don't have time to read 30-page reports, financial statements, to kind of learn about what services are being offered by that entity.
Support comes from the Federal Insular Affairs Office, part of a training initiative.
We are so happy that we have graduate school, who is funded by the Department of Interior, Office of Insular Affairs, to make this training possible.
Bottom line, the CCR, as the name implies, centers around the citizen.
It's an accountability tool, who we are, what our missions are, what we've done in the past year, how much money we've used to kind of fulfill those services, and what are our challenges going forward.
Once completed, the reports will go into the public domain with ready access.
These reports are required to be submitted to the Office of the Public Auditor, as well as the Governor's Office and the Legislature. And they're going to be posted on everybody's websites, including OPA, the Governor, the entities themselves, and I believe the Legislature. So you can find it all over the internet.
On Guam, the push to get war reparations out faster and larger continues. KUM's Adriana Cotero reports.
Hafa de CNMI, here's what's making news on Guam. A bill to expedite up to $7.5 million in local war claim payments to survivors drew strong rebuke from Congressman Michael San Nicolas Wednesday. The delegate warned the legislature and the governor that the measure could undermine his push for a technical correction to a federal law that will free up millions more in reparation funding. Late Wednesday, senators decided to pull back the bill to give San Nicolas more time. Nestor Lecanto explains.
It was a rather unusual setting. Former Senator, now Delegate Michael San Nicolas calling into the legislative session from Washington to debate the bill. The measure by Speaker Tina Barnes and backed by the governor would fast-track certain war claims payments locally while the congressman works on federal legislation to authorize the Treasury Department to eventually release enough money to pay all claimants. While the San Nicolas bill has cleared the House, it still awaits approval by the Senate, and San Nicolas fears that using local funds might derail the effort. It could prompt Congress to consider it as a local obligation, he says, or perhaps national politics could figure in.
It's a particularly sensitive issue in the Senate because we have certain senators who are running for president who have made slavery reparations a platform of theirs. If the presidential politics that is jostling around on the Senate side becomes too pronounced, the question could become, if you support Guam War reparations, why don't you support slavery reparations?
It's unclear, though, just how strong Senate opposition would be to a technical amendment to a law that's been on the books for more than 2 years. Meanwhile, several senators, such as Tello Taitigui, say they support the local solution.
It's clear that the administration is working with Treasury and with the Department of Interior to make this happen. And one of the statements that was made in here, Mr. Congressman, is that it may take months to years before Congress, the Senate passes H.R. 1335. Why would you be against being able to pay These claimants who've been waiting for so long to be whole and having every day one of them pass away.
Emails and letters provided to KUAM confirm the local payments do have Trump administration support, which could mean quicker local payments. Governor's Chief of Staff, Tony Babauta.
The Department of the Interior, Department of Treasury that have expressed support for Mr. San Nicolas's bill is also very well aware of the effort of Governor Leon Guerrero in working with members of this Guam legislature to pass a local solution to in lieu of the Department of Treasury not being able today to issue awards for adjudicated, to claimants for adjudicated claims.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Stay informed 24/7 by checking out KUAM.com or downloading the KUAM News app available for iOS and Android. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Thank you, Adriana. Coming up, the veterans of the hardcore step up and say, somebody stop us. Just try it.
Faster, easier to use. With live TV, recordings, video on demand, and streaming apps, all in a single place. When you're looking for something new, recommendations are tailored to you. Voice-powered, personalized results to find what you want faster. And the unlimited potential of smart home. The new experience from TiVo is here.
Bubblegum Shrimp Company opens daily at 11 a.m. Located on Beach Road in the heart of Garapan.
You deserve more. I know it's been hard. Come on, let's go for a ride.
Hi, welcome to Dow Rent to Own.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this feels like home.
Dial Rent to Own, making lives better since 1987.
Buena sports fans. Buena sports fans, midweek men's basketball. AK Toyota looking to rebound against a team and players that we have not seen before. Mystique Barbecue Grillers in their tip-off hope to grill the Wheelers, who were coming off a disappointing but not devastating opening night loss. Look, AK Toyota employees came straight from work to cheer for their team. They didn't even have a chance to change their clothes. All kinds of fans in these MHS stands. Keith Kintal, off target. The rebound, snagged by Rodney Catala, who tries to get the ball back to KK. Four-wheelers, stay back. Why'd they stay back? They gave up an easy run out for Mystique's Joseph Torres, who topped all scores with 25. George de Guzman, still getting it done after all these decades. The ageless wonder boy, he was the player of the game with 16 points. Torres, oh, he loves short ribs, not short shots. Keith rebounds. He heads up court. The setup, Jeff Borja for three. What? Short shots are contagious. This time the Wheelers keep three back again. What for? Mystique with the 3-on-1. Joseph Galulu, the cash-in. Hey.
Come on, guys, let's get it back. Let's on the lead.
Borja from point blank range. And a three-point advantage late in the second period. Man-to-man defense. Who's man up against Lynn Tekapua? De Guzman, the wily vet, dribbles in a semicircle to get off that easy lay-in.
Let's go, defense! Defense!
Gerald Rivera, he'll take that if they're going to give it to him. Why not? Borja, the dribble drive. He stumbles. He shuffles a rock over to Alvin Pantola. Blocked by Rivera. Hold! The Mystique cheering section goes bananas. Alex Laron, he checks in, and he makes it an immediate impact. Clink, clank, he missed 2 free throws, but makes a rebound bucket, 2 points either way. After losing by 10 in their first game, the Wheels bounce back with a 10-point victory, 78-68.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Let's roll at Gold's Gym Saipan with group exercise for every body. Total Resistant Exercise, or TRX, helps develop your core and improve strength. And Zumba toning is probably the funnest way to get fit. The Shake Cafe is a great place to stop by for a meal replacement or supplements. Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
All right, today's high was 91, very hot. The low 79, heat index 105, one of the highest that we've had all summer. Humidity, though, only 68%. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, isolated showers, northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, high 89, low 79. Seas 3 to 5 feet, sunrise 3 past 6, low tide 2 minutes past 7 in the morning, a high tide at 1:16, and then a beautiful, glorious sunset at 6:36.
Thanks for that outstanding weather report, Bob.
Well, it's not. It's just a report. It's the outstanding weather that we're having that deserves.
You get credit for that.
Yeah. If it's a nice day, I did it.
So, new basketball league?
Yeah, I didn't see you out there playing.
I'm not a hoopster,
really.
but I like to watch it.
It's fun. You like to get a good sweat up. You know,
It
if you like to sweat.
It looked hot in there.
It is hot in there.
What's happening with the air conditioning system?
No,
there?
they after U2, they completely removed the compressor and the blowers and the vents, and everything is gone. So there's nothing in there, and there are no fans in there, and there are no windows in there. So the ventilation comes from this, or if you, what I do is I go stand next to the door on the northeast side of the gym. That's where the trade winds blow in. So, but now I tell everybody that everybody's going to be crowded around the northeast.
You're not gonna get your shots anymore.
That's like the only place.
It's like Bikram basketball.
What's that?
Bikram. You've heard of Bikram yoga, where they turn the heat up in the yoga studio. This will be Bikram basketball.
Not big on yoga.
Oh, okay.
No, all right, I learned that. Write it down, and I'll look it up on the internet tonight.
Bikram.
That's a real word?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
That is news, sports, and weather on this Thursday in the Commonwealth. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good night.